Welcome, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hiya.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're very, very pleased to meet you. Apologies for being a minute late. We're just trying to get all of us all online. Kevin, how would you like us to start? Would you like to put some context in terms of introductions? In our presentation, we have our team that we present and introductions to. So shall I hand over to you?
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody knows, everyone's been briefed on the purpose of today's call, to get an update on the journey that we've all been on and to see where we've got to, and a chance for some questions as well. So I don't think we'll dwell on that too long. And I know you guys want to crack on quickly. So I think what I'll do is I'll just go around in my order. I'll shout out. And if you can just quickly explain who you are, we can do that bit. And then guys, then you can go onto your side, and I guess you can do the intros and crack on, Richard, if that works. So let's start with Simon Lawson. I can see him near the top left of my screen. Hi, Simon.
Afternoon, one and all. Nice to see you all, and thank you for all your hard work. Looking forward to getting into a bit more of the detail. I'm General Manager of Casella Family Brands Europe, so an august body of 24 of us. We have the joy of distributing and marketing Yellowtail across the whole of Europe. And very excited about the possibilities of Pepperbox, I have to say. And as you can see, hopefully you can see, there it is.
Good stuff. Thank you, Simon. I'll move on to John Luke, who's often very succinct with his words, so this won't take long.
He lies like a cheap watch. It's nice to meet you all, albeit by Zoom. I'm the sales director for Casella Family Brands Europe. I haven't got a bottle of it in front of me, unlike the others, but I would just lead off by saying I'm really impressed, really impressed. I think what you guys have done is great so far, and I'm looking forward to getting my team to sell it successfully.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. I shall move on to Mr. Trace, Simon Trace.
Good afternoon. My name's Simon. I look after Tesco, so my job is to sell this wine, and it's looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. I've enjoyed the weekly catch-ups. I've been impressed with your work, so thank you.
Thanks, Simon. And on to Luke Golding, our resident skateboarder.
Hi everyone, I'm Luke. I'm head of category and insights at Casella. Kev's been keeping me up to date on the weekly progress on Pepperbox. So really excited to kind of see the final presentation today.
Thanks, Luke. And I think last but not least, on to Nicole.
Hi everyone. I'm Nicole. So I work with Luke in the category and insights team. I first saw kind of most of this yesterday, so I'm kind of excited to see it again and hear you chat through it really.
Thank you very much. You know myself, and Shamwari is normally part of the scene as well. So I'll hand you back to Richard.
Thank you. We're just going to put our presentation up for you today. So thank you so much for supporting Winchester Creatives. I'm going to just share sharing options with my colleague Cain, who's going to share his presentation. And I'm also, so can you now share the presentation, Cain? There we go. And we'll go to full screen.
Here we go.
So today we want to have an opportunity to share with you how our team, our Winchester Creatives team, is going to help you to launch Pepperbox into the European market. One just housekeeping note, I hope it's okay. We are recording this presentation, but the presentation won't be shared externally. This is more for our benefit so that we can watch it back again and feel very proud of what we've achieved. I hope that's okay with you. We won't share this with anyone else without your permission. So let's move on. So here is your team. So my name is Richard Coope. I'm co-founder of Winchester Creatives. I happen to live near in the vicinity of Kevin, and I happened to mention to him last year about what we're doing with Winchester Creatives. I've been the team leader on this project, and I've also been helping to support our other mentees in our program. But you don't want to hear from me right now. You want to hear from the rest of the team. I'll hand over to Cain.
Hi, I'm Cain. I've been doing the research and UX side of things as well as web design. I've really enjoyed working in a team and working on such an exciting brief. Yeah, I'll pass over to Amber.
And do you want to quickly mention what UX is for the benefit?
Yeah, so UX is user experience. So finding out, insights as to who the, target customer is or target user, and using that information to then put into the creatives.
Good stuff.
Hi, I'm Amber, and I'm 20. I've been working on content, and I've really enjoyed getting my first real experience of the industry.
Hi guys, my name is Dan B. I am the design lead on this project. I had the pleasure of working with Richard last year to actually set Winchester Creatives up. I've really enjoyed working with wine. I do quite a lot of work with a local brewery called Red Cat, so it was a real really played to kind of my where I'm trying to get to as a designer. So just huge thank you for the opportunity.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm graduating in 2019, having studied graphic design, and I've been working with Dan to kind of bring everyone's ideas to life. I've really enjoyed just kind of getting initial feedback straight from Kevin. That's always been really exciting to see his kind of straight reaction.
Hi, my name is Heather. I'm 24 and I'm an illustrator. So I've really enjoyed documenting the whole process that everyone's been through through my illustration work.
Great. If we can move on to the next slide. So in this presentation, we're going to give you a sense about us. We're going to talk about your brief. We're going to give you an indication of our key insight. We'll talk about the story. We'll give enough time for the creative, both from an integrated campaign perspective, including online. And at the end, we'll have a moment to share with you the learnings that this team has had being on this journey. Just a note on questions. You are more than welcome to ask questions throughout this presentation. But if you want to leave your question at the end as well, our presentation is running at about sort of 35 minutes to 40 minutes. So we're keen to basically get through as much as we possibly can. But if you have a burning question, please feel free to ask it and we'll try our best at answering it. Next slide, please. So a little bit about us. I'm sure most of you are aware that in the last year, there has been increasing rising concern about the rise in unemployment across the UK due to the pandemic. And whether it's on the front page of the Telegraph, the Sunday Times, the Times, the Mirror, the Mail, the Guardian, across the board, from leaders like Prince Charles with his Prince's Trust Initiative or the Archbishop of Canterbury, people are trying to get our leaders across our businesses and our governments to wake up to this massive challenge, which is how can we help people who are unemployed? Next slide, please. And the latest statistics have come out in the last 2 days to say that UK unemployment has actually raised to 5.1%. Now, in general terms, that would normally be something that could be manageable. But when you map that against the deepest recession that the UK has seen in the last 300 years, that becomes concerning. And more than that, when you drill into the data underneath it, there has been a massive rise in unemployment from young people under the age of 24. It was back in November, 14.6%. It's got even higher. So this is a big issue to resolve. Next slide, please. And you can see from the panorama or from all of these different news outlets, the youngest are being hit disproportionately hardest. And actually, candidates from BAME communities and with diverse backgrounds are also equally being hit hard. This is the generation that's going to shoulder the debt of this recession for tens and decades to come. And they're the ones that are not getting the opportunities they so rightfully deserve. So next slide, please. So here at Winchester Creatives, we're trying to do something about that. We are a not-for-profit social enterprise. So every single pound that comes into us goes to helping young people under the age of 25 in the Hampshire region to do three things. Our goals are to reduce the feelings of hopelessness in young people, reduce the feelings of job despair that they feel, and to help them to get on in the creative industries, to realize their dreams as creatives. There are three elements to what we do. We run a campaigning part of what we do, which we call Mind the Gap, which is to encourage our leaders across the country to recognize this big issue about helping young people get more employed. We run schemes under our Mend the Gap initiatives. That includes offering 6 months mentoring for all of these people and another 30 people who get access to leaders to help encourage them in their employment opportunities. We also offer paid apprenticeships, and part of the scheme that you are part of is that you have helped fund this team to work on an exciting brief on your behalf, and we are truly grateful. Alongside that, we do online training and we help with employability. We also have a scheme called Jump the Gap, which is to help ongoing employability skills for these candidates going forwards to help accelerate them in their career. Next slide, please. So genuinely, thank you to all of you for your kind support. So Kevin kindly kind of popped into my garden and held a banner for Mind the Gap, and we put some press releases out, and we were thrilled to see that Casella Family Brands got some good PR from the Hampshire Chronicle, the Daily Echo, the Winchester Residents magazine, that's Hampshire TV. And 3 weeks ago, we managed to get some press from the Telegraph, who are seeing what we are doing as leading the charge to helping young people get jobs. The consumption in this team in Yellowtome alone, in a responsible way, has gone up at least 300 to 400%. It is our drink of choice from now on in, because we love the fact that you have supported us so kindly. Next slide. One thing to mention is that we run something where we measure every single part of our social investment. So we run something called the Social Investment Calculator from HACT that can show that every pound that comes into our organisation creates £3.70 of social profit in terms of employability, opportunities for young, skills, accelerating their careers. So I just want to say what you have done not only has been amazing for this team, but you have done something that is immeasurable, that cannot be measured in money alone. You've given this team hope. And I am so grateful for you for doing that and being the first, the leaders in this category to supporting that. Next slide, please. So this is your team. And I have to say, for one, I'm extremely proud to have been part of this team. We have a diverse group of people from Amber, who's just 20, through to many others with different skill sets working in an integrated way. It has been a joy to work with these individuals. Their level of professionalism, their level of dedication has been inspirational to behold. So the process that we've gone to, next slide please, is this. We started with the brief from Kevin. We asked the question, where are we? Where we asked some key questions. And then we got quite expansive. We asked, where should we go? We looked at the art of the possible. We came up with crazy ideas. And then we sort of honed them back down to where should we go? We're sort of looking at the art of the probable. At that point, we put some ideas together for the Portman Group, and they came back with some feedback, and we had to go back and change again. But we adapted and we pivoted, and then we carried on through. Then we figured out a plan to how to get there. We talked about how we'd measure success. And we are right here, right now, demonstrating to you the pinnacle of the work that we have done over the last 7 to 8 weeks. We can't show everything to you, but this is basically where we have got to at this precise moment in time. I'm now going to shut up and leave the rest of the team to share the amazing work that they have done on your behalf. Now over to the wonderful Heather, who's been our Illustrator in residence.
Hi everyone. So it's been my job to record the highs and the lows of our journey, not only providing evidence of our hard work, but giving us a visualization of our ideas that are easy for the whole team to digest and reflect on throughout the weeks. These illustrations have allowed us to kind of adapt to the COVID restrictions, where we've not been able to all be in the same room physically, so we can't stick post-it notes to the wall, for example. So because of these illustrations, we have a way to collate our ideas all in one place.
Brilliant, that's great. Thank you, Heather. So hi everyone, Dan, design lead. I'm just going to talk briefly about where we started from with this project. So we had a fantastic brief that actually grew and grew quite a bit as we developed the project. So initially we were going to be coming on board to assist with a pre-existing marketing campaign, but as Pepperbox grew, the opportunity came out that we could actually work on creating some marketing material for the launch of Pepperbox. And so our brief was to create a clear brand platform and comms plan for Pepperbox, and to bring to life the on-pack, in-store and out-of-home comms, and create a support plan for launch and ongoing. So that's what we've done.
Hiya, so Cain. So basically, I'm the geek of the group, so I really enjoy numbers and information that's pretty much based on facts. So as part of our immersion phase, we pretty much looked into the initial Pepperbox market insight briefing document. So that would be including the latest marketing trends from Kantar. as well as the latest 2021 report, the wine report, wine intelligence report, your exciting sell deck for Tesco, the latest social media and consumer marketing trends, as well as the ASA and Portman Group guidelines. So it's been a really fantastic way of getting immersed into your category. And I've learned so much about wine that I didn't know about before. So based on the research that you've given us and what we've done around that, males make up 59% of wine drinkers, whereas females make up 41% of wine drinkers. There's been an increase in buying wine on online supermarkets by 5% from 2015 to 2020. And since the pandemic, there has been an increase in spend per bottle over all occasions. So from being, at wine, at home having dinner, to a more relaxed evening. And monthly consumption of wine is actually being increased over two types of wine drinkers, so adventurous explorers and generation treaters. And so I actually got those terms from the wine intelligence document that you sent over previously. So of any great campaign and any digital work, for us, it always comes down to who the end users are and who the end customers are. And so we created audience personas that really help us in the foundations of the campaign. So created some detailed personas on this page, but I don't want to bore you too much about that. But essentially, I love this kind of detail. It really helps us get in the sort of mindset of who the end user is, and really helpful in that kind of thing, in that kind of sense. So although I've just said I love going into detail, taking a step back of what we've learned, and what the core insight is that we've learned that from all this research, looking into the wine intelligence and the immersions that we did, adventurous explorers are likely to have experienced other cultures through travel and food, and are the ones that are most likely to be influenced to purchase a new wine. And in order to activate them to purchase and spend more on a bottle of wine, we need to spark their curiosity by inspiring them to be more adventurous in their choices. So this is an actionable insight that has helped Amber to do the next part of her journey, the story. And so with that thought, I'll hand over to Amber.
Hi, I'm Amber. I like words, and so we're going to be developing the story. I developed the story, and so we started with the foundation, which is key to all successful brands, which is the brand house, which you can see now. And from the insight that Cain brought up, we really wanted to emphasize this idea of adventure. So our brand advocate, the very, very key is every day is an adventure if you can make it one. And this brand house is all about how we can add adventure, and Pepperbox adds adventure as a brand, and it makes people want to be adventurous and sort of all of that really adventurous aspects for Pepperbox. And from that, we have created the tagline, "Bring some adventure to the table," which is super exciting because it's such a simple thought, but lends itself to so many applications which we have explored in the creative process. For example, you've got the food, you've got the experience, you've got the moment, and you can be adventurous in all of those situations. And we know that every solid story has a foundation in a what, a how, and the why. And so for this story, we've got the what being Pepperbox brings adventure to the table, the how bringing it being even a Pepperbox evokes memories of past adventures, and the why would be because every great adventure deserves a great wine. Now, if you don't mind, I'm just going to tell you the story of Pepperbox, which is, we all want a little adventure in our lives, and here at Pepperbox, we aim to bring some to your table. We have crafted a vibrant and rich wine filled with the taste of Southern Australia for you. It's the perfect pairing, elevating the taste experience of your meals and to inspire memories of past adventures. Because every great adventure deserves a great wine. Whether you're planning a new adventure or you're reminiscing over past ones, Pepperbox is the perfect partner to these occasions. Bring some adventure to the table today with Pepperbox, only available at Tesco. And now I shall hand over to Hannah to talk you through some of the initial creative.
Cool, thanks Amber. So at Creative, we had the challenge of bringing to life Amber and Cain's amazing insights and research and aligning it with the brief. So on the next slide, you can see that we had, we tried to encompass the vibrancy and richness of the wine and align that with this kind of sense of adventure. And so that's why you got all these dark, kind of moody sensorial tones, but equally the kind of the pops and exploration of how we can be more playful and adventurous with that. So moving on to the next slide. I'm all about, like, I love ideas and coming up with concepts, and a sign of a great brief is when you can come up with loads of different ideas. And this is just like a sample of that. We had so many other ideas, really weird and wacky, like we were planning on maybe making like the bottle like a Pepperbox. So our challenge was really to kind of find the balance between showing this adventure, but equally showing the food, showing the wine, and bringing it all to life. And Dan's going to quickly talk you through how we did that.
Fantastic, thanks for that, Hannah. So what we wanted to produce at the outset of this was a set of kind of restricted assets that we could use and carry out across any of the applications that we made, to make sure that there was a consistency and a strong focus on the brand over the call to action, but also that there was some distinctiveness to the campaign as well, because we felt that we wanted this, we didn't want the campaign to overshadow the product itself, but we wanted it to be memorable and we wanted it to have an impact. So before we go through and start looking at the creative, what we're going to be showing you is essentially an integrated marketing approach. So we've tried to categorize our different touch points in terms of above the line, so thinking really broad reach, below the line, so thinking much more targeted, through the line, so thinking basically across the two, and then also thinking in terms of an always on approach. So with that, we focus mainly on website and social media. So if we can go on to the following slide, and this is the overarching slogan that we've been using. And if we go on to the next one, we can see how this begins to translate into a print setting. So poster design here, we had some feedback in our last round of iterations, which was that the design was working, but the overall order of the information was perhaps a bit too focused on the call to action and less focused on the wine and the name. So in our last round of edits, we've basically just increased the size of the bottle to be as big as it can. We put the Pepperbox logo right at the top, so that's the key piece of information, and then you've got the two call to actions at the bottom, including a QR code which can be scanned to give additional information about the Daring Dishes campaign. So if we go on to the next one, we can just get a feel here for how this will work within its environment. So with any creative concepts, there's quite a strong phase of testing that you have to do, because depending on where you're showing your designs, they need to be kind of optimized to the key space. So this is very much a broad approach. We're trying to reach as many people as possible without kind of alienating any particular group. Here we can see how this kind of concept actually translates across multiple images. So one of the issues with designing, or when you're designing a whole range of collateral, is that if you get too hung up on just using one image to go with it, then it's difficult to expand the campaign out. So we focused some of our attention on kind of creating a lookbook for the kind of photos that we were going to be using, making sure that they all represented safe drinking at home with situations that wouldn't necessarily be interpreted as breaking any kind of restrictions, but would still have some kind of hint towards the idea of just bringing something home and making the evening a bit more. And so that's where we got to with those. And then if we go on to the following one, we can see how this would work in a kind of billboard setting. So obviously we want to have as much reach as possible, and we want to as much kind of collateral as possible. So we've incorporated the Daring Dishes branding and the Tesco branding into the footer on this one, just to reiterate how the product can be accessed. And so that's how that would look on a kind of a broader scale. And again, on this one, we've prioritized the bottle and the slogan and the logo, sorry, with then the slogan call to action being kind of more of a focal, smaller point. So then going on from this one. So this is a piece of insight that we had right from the outset, was the link between wine and food, which we had to be quite careful with, because we didn't want to represent the wine as something which would be seen as an ingredient with food. We wanted to represent the fact that this is a very high quality wine, which will improve any kind of meal that you're having because of its taste. And so we like the idea of basically creating some branded recipes and presenting the bottle alongside those recipes. So in this instant, we've provided 3 examples of how we would do this. I think it's quite key at this point as well. Although we know that red wine goes well with steak, we wanted to explore non-meat variants as well, because we didn't want to alienate anyone from this process. So we've gone down a steak route, but also have salmon steak and cauliflower steak in there as well. And on the right, you can see how this works in a kind of magazine mock-up. So you would have an editorial piece on the left, and then on the right, you would have the advert. Then going on from that, Hannah, if you want to pick up on this one.
Yeah, so in terms of in-store, we wanted to create a touch point that would work both in the store and also at home. So on each side of the collarette, there is a form of branding, and it's telling the story of Pepperbox, but it's also promoting the campaign Daring Dishes to kind of entice those kind of adventurers that would be picking up the bottle. So in store, they can, if they're interested in the recipe, they can go around and then grab all the ingredients. It's all on the collarette. But equally, when they get home and realize like this is the best wine ever, they can kind of keep the collarette and be like, actually, next time I go into Tesco, I'm going to grab the ingredients and I'm going to buy the bottle of wine.
Brilliant, thank you, Hannah. And just to carry on that in-store touch point, so we know that once the customer is at the wine shelves, we've got one last chance to convince them to put down the bottle that they normally get and spend a little bit more on something they haven't tried before, and to be a little bit adventurous. So with that in mind, we have created a mock-up on the right here, which shows how the bottles would look within the Australian wine, red wine section of Tesco, with the collarettes applied. So one of the good things about this is you can see that although the collarettes do stand out, they don't necessarily detract from the overall design of the bottle. You can still see all of the recognizable kind of branded elements within the design. We've also created a kind of pull-out banner that will come out from the side of the aisle with a directional price tag at the top, which reiterates the kind of the reduced price point for launch, but then also leads down to reiterating the bring some adventure to the table campaign, with a link at the bottom where you can scan the QR code. On the left, we've got an example of how these recipes, which you saw on the previous one as editorial, would work as individual printed recipe cards, which you could pick up from the point of sale as you pick up the bottle of wine and take that home for you. So it's basically, we're just exploring how we can pull this aspect of the campaign into multiple different channels and into different touch points along the way.
And obviously we don't just want to grab people's attention in store, we want to grab it online as well. So again, really clear with the logo, and then secondary is the message. But again, would really catch the eye, and it would send people straight to Pepperbox on Tesco, so they can just put it straight in their basket.
Brilliant, thank you. And just thinking a little bit more about through the line. So what kind of shareable social content could we create with this? So the branding that we've applied to the written recipes could actually work really well as a series of pre-recorded recipe videos, which you can watch on your phone or download or share over Facebook. These could also be sponsored ads. So we could pay to have those listed on people's Facebook pages, and then they can then share those on their own network, which then basically grows our reach and encourages that user-generated content aspect of it. And on the top there, you can see how the thumbnail sits within the YouTube setting. So actually, the visuals of the video image header stand out even when viewed kind of zoomed out and looking at it alongside other content.
So in terms of social, on the left, you have a post for Daring Dishes, which when you swipe right on the carousel, it then takes you to a video, which will give you step-by-step guide of how to create the recipe. On the right, going further from Dan's point about user-generated content, an example of how the branding can flex into representing those users, but still feeling cohesive within the branding. And then if you go on to the next slide, please. Again, on the left, you have another carousel, but this time it's talking about the flavors and notes of the wine, and then finishing with a call to action to go head to Tesco. I'm now going to quickly pass you over to Amber, who's going to talk about one of her awesome ideas for content.
Okay, one of the really important aspects of social is the interactivity of it. And on the Instagram stories feature, you can create quizzes, which is something that encourages interaction. And so one of the ideas that we came up with is a quiz feature, Could You Fake It as a Wine Connoisseur, which could be done as sort of a one-off thing, or it could be done as sort of a monthly thing to encourage interaction with the content on your social feed. And that is something that we've bore in mind when we were thinking about other things that we could create to encourage interactivity with the customer base, which is how we created Pepperbox postcards, which is where we could send postcards to consumers, or we could encourage them to write postcards, Pepperbox postcards, to their loved ones, to their friends, all about their Pepperbox adventures and their Pepperbox moments and how they were interacted. And bearing in mind the situation that we're in and the summer season probably being more about staycations rather than vacations, we've created a series that are iconic locations in the UK that we think Pepperbox drinkers may visit. And I shall now hand you over to Hannah to finish the social media content.
Amazing, thanks Amber. So as you can see, overall it's a really clean, crisp, but still got premium cues to it. And you can see how the kind of assets flex from post to post. So you can have specific on-day ones like Father's Day, but equally you can have posts regarding like Pepperbox itself, the drink, the brand. So for example, you got a fact one talking about Shiraz's grapes in there. But you can see how easily it is to flex, but equally you can have just posts, just typography. It's just super flexible. And then if we move on to the next slide. So we're going further from kind of postcards, quiz idea, I wanted to be more interactive and be a bit more adventurous. Inspired by the increase in kind of community murals, we wanted to think about, well, what could kind of Pepperbox be? So the idea would be that artists could interpret the notes and sense of adventure within Pepperbox in like a little message on a bottle. And you can imagine it being shared all over social media, but equally it could really link really easily to the postcard concept. And you can see our amazing illustrator, Heather, has done her own quick interpretation of the wine. And I'm now going to hand you over to Cain, who's going to chat through the website.
Oh yeah, so can you hear me? Yeah, great. So just a note before I start, within this section, I know that we don't have too much time, so I'm going to highlight the most important parts really of the website. So let me just launch that quickly. Just want to confirm, can you all see that? Great. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the gateway, just to get onto the website. With any website relating to alcohol, this is one of the first things you see. So just mock that out quickly. So what you're seeing here is the website, so the homepage of the website. So on the top left, you can see the Pepperbox logo, white, quite big and visible, so you know where what website you're actually on. To the right, you can see the navigation bar, including the About page, our wines, recipes, reviews, contact, and most importantly, the Where to Buy section of the page, or Where to Buy button to lead to the suppliers or the stores. So again, as you can see, linking back to the branding, we've got for Taste Adventures, again linking that back to the who the target audience is and what they are actually looking for in life, which is an adventure. So if we scroll down a tiny bit, you can see the sort of brand has been implemented into this website design. Again, with the wine bottle on the left being quite a prominent thing on the screen as of yet. And then to the right there is a small description of the wine bottle, mentioning the notes of pepper, which is something quite important. Again, a button here just to go over to the range page, and scrolling further a tiny bit down, the wine section, recommended by adventurers, again pushing that idea that people that drink this wine are adventurers. So whether it be a Pepperbox drinker or home cooks, people have the ability to drink Pepperbox and be an adventurer and stand out from the crowd. If we scroll down a bit further, we've got a panel here to do with the vineyards. So again, just a small description, and if they want, they can click more to then be there to the About page. if you scroll a tiny bit further down, we can see the recipes that pair perfectly with Pepperbox wines. So this, again, it links back to the recipe cards that can be found in store, and they all correlate to the cards. So they're all complemented. So complemented with Pepperbox Shiraz, complemented with Pepperbox Merlot, say if this was to go into a range. But yeah, again, if they were to click on this, this would go onto their individual recipe pages. Scrolling down a tiny bit more, we've got an Instagram feed, basically. With anybody that uses the hashtag Pepperbox Moments hashtag, they'll then link up to the website, and then they can all be showing their moments that they've made with Pepperbox, which is something quite important. I'll skip the footer for now, but I'll go on to our wine section. So discover our wine. So on this page, I've pretty much future-proofed it. So say if Pepperbox were to go into an actual range, it's modular. So for now, we've got the Pepperbox Shiraz up here, again, with the notes of pepper and with the button to learn more. And then say if you were to, make a Cabernet or Malbec, you've also got the ability to do that. Again, these colors are linking back to the sort of notes of peppercorns and the colors that they have. Again, skipping past this part because we've seen that before. If you go into the individual wine page, you can see, again, very simple, very clean, but most importantly, you can see the wine bottle, what its name is, what the notes it has, and a small description. And again, below that, we've got the where to buy button. So if you click that or click that, that'll then take us directly to the sellers. And that's the most important thing. Again, trying to push sales and push that path of purchase. Scrolling down a bit further, we can see the tasting notes. Again, just a quick, tasting note section. We've got a link back to the Daring Dishes page, again, back to the cards that we found in store and nutritional information. And again, a panel here just to say, we've got the other range as well, and here are other wines. Again, learning more about them and then leading to that path to purchase. Again, Pepperbox Moments panel down here. If we go to the recipes page, just a simple, clean page to show the recipes that, that have been pushed out by Pepperbox or Casella. And what you think are the most important recipes that could be paired perfectly with Pepperbox. So we've got search bar here. We've got sorting by, say, a featured or say most popular. The meal and course. But you can see again they're all linking back to the other posts that we've created. Again, served perfectly with, say, Pepperbox Malbec, Pepperbox Shiraz. And then Pepperbox Cabernet. So depending on, all these meals are available for everybody, say whether you're vegan or, you're a pescatarian or you eat meat, everything's available for anybody. And that's what we're trying to be inclusive in this page. If you scroll down a tiny bit further, we've got a panel here to share your daring dish. And that's where it sort of gets the customers involved with Pepperbox, and they can share their daring dish and their dishes that they create at home that are quite adventurous, which we thought was quite a good thing to try and implement them to the website. Again, down here, the Instagram panel. But if I were to go onto the individual page here, again, linking back to the numbered sort of recipes, we've got the name of it, small description, who it serves, the total cooking time. We've got the ability to share a link to this website. We can send an email to whoever to then share this recipe. But yeah, so we go down and we've got the ingredients section. So if we were to click this, it would lead down with the list of things that are needed for this recipe, and most importantly, a button that would be pressed to then take you to Tesco. That would fill your basket with, say, all the steaks needed, the wine, meaning Pepperbox, and that would again lead to that path to purchase. So we've got the recipe here, and within the recipe, we've actually got a small quote. So, open Pepperbox Shiraz, let it breathe in time for your wonderful meal. So again, making Pepperbox actually part of the meal or recipe is something we thought was important as well. Scrolling down a bit further, we've got, the wine pairing panel. And again, that's really important, especially for this recipe section. Say if they were emailed this link or sent this link, they know that this meal is paired perfectly with Pepperbox Shiraz. Again, they can learn more about this here, and then they can the most important thing is that path to purchase from this where to buy button. Going on to the reviews page, we've got again, Pepperbox is for everybody, adventurous, or whoever. but you can see here, you know, this is a Pepperbox drinker. They've left a review. Ah, these people are home cooks. They've left a review. They're a wine influencer. They've left a review. So, you know, it's for all adventurous people that really like an adventure, and especially wine. If we were to click on here, so here's the individual review page, and here we have the name of the wine that's being reviewed at the top, who it's being reviewed by, and then further down, we've got their article on this, and then in this next panel we've got the wine in question, again linking back, you know, to what the wine was that they reviewed, the ability to learn more, and then pushing that path to purchase. I won't bore you too much with the contact page, but in the about page, I think it's quite important to mention, you know, we've got the story about, you know, where Pepperbox came from, so Southern Australia, you know, what flavour it has, and also the next panel here shows the heritage, and we know that Pepperbox, the Casella Family Brands, you know, core values, and you know, everything links back to family. So we appreciate that, and we wanted to include that as an important part to the website. So I'm going to take you back to the presentation now, and just a quick note from my end. You've seen the website as a desktop mock-up, but on the left you can see it in its responsive size, that being a mobile. But you know, when considering building a website, it's important to think mobile first, because say if you were to come from Instagram, you know, you'd be on your mobile, you wouldn't be on your laptop. So it's really important to design a website that's mobile first, and yeah, that's been me. I'll now pass over to Hannah.
Cool, thanks, Cain. So we didn't just want to make you lots of content, we wanted to make it as part of a 6-month integrated plan, like Dan was saying. So again, you want to launch it, inspire it, and celebrate it, but above the line, below the line, through the line, always on. I'm not going to linger on this too much. You've probably had enough of us chatting, so feel free to ask some questions at the end, but I'm now going to pass you over to Dan, who's going to round up everything.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Hannah. So as a campaign overview, the assets that we've created span in-store, point of sale, magazine and editorial, print and posters and banners, also social media through a range of content, campaign and otherwise, and ultimately through to a digital application of the website. So if we go on to next slide. Yep. So a really key aspect of this whole process has been the learning curve. This has been a big task for all of us. It's been something new for a lot of us. It's been something that we've not done before. We've had challenges in that I don't think any of us have ever, apart from me and Richard, actually met kind of physically. We're doing this all remotely, and to be able to work as a cohesive team and to be able to pull things together and help each other, assist each other, and push an idea, even though we're not in the same room, is something I didn't really think would be possible in this way. So I'm really proud of what everyone's done and the way that we've communicated with each other and pitched in. So we've just put together a little video, hope you don't mind, just to say thank you and kind of the key takeaways that we've had from this experience. So Cain, if we can, nice one.
Before working on this project with Casella Family Brands, I was volunteering for my local community radio station and looking for my first full-time role within the industry. And working with Casella Family Brands has given me the experience and transferable skills that I need to further my career, which I am super grateful for. It's also enabled me to put the skills that I learned in my education into practice and taught me new things, such as the ASA guidelines on advertising alcohol. And this experience has really been invaluable to me.
Learned so much from working on the Pepperbox brief. I believe this experience has helped me develop so much when working in a team, using audience insight and research to impact the creative approach and outcomes, as well as creating websites that really pair well and matches with the branding that was already provided. I thoroughly enjoyed this experience. I'm so grateful. So a massive thank you to you all.
For me, it's been a really interesting challenge to frame a creative concept within the constraints of a global brand marketing process. Learning to pivot when we had a pushback from the Portman group, and learning to take our creative concepts to the next level by visualizing them as an overall comms plan and strategy. I do a lot of work on my own, especially at the moment, and working on an exciting project with an interesting client and a diverse creative team has been both rewarding and hugely gratifying.
This experience has got me back to doing what I love, working in a team, bouncing ideas of each other and presenting to a client. I really enjoy collaborating and the feedback we've been given has been so incredibly valuable. Couldn't really ask for more. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. I've learned so much and it's helped restore my confidence.
As an illustrator, I've really enjoyed being on this project. I've been able to be part of a creative team, which has been really fun. And it's been really interesting watching how that team makes something from an idea into something so polished. I've been having a great time and it's really encouraged me to continue my practice with illustration. And I've loved observing and recording everything that's been going on. So I'm really appreciative of the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to pick up, if that's okay.
Brilliant. Thanks, Richard. Yeah.
Just some final thoughts. Just building on what Dan B has just said, genuinely, this team hasn't worked together before, since before the 12th of January this year. And if you think about it, this time of this pandemic, of this lockdown, has been extremely tough. People are facing isolation issues. It's been difficult to work together. Sometimes if you don't have a creative studio, and people have sort of different working styles. And the truth is that without your brief and without this opportunity and without your kind sponsorship, the truth is the team that you've seen today would be facing unemployment, and they would have spent 2 months with trying to grapple with that and also the mental health issues that come with that. You have given them an extraordinary opportunity. Over the last 2 months in lockdown, rather than facing depression and despair, they have faced something more than that. They've faced excitement, they've faced challenge, they've faced collaboration. And I have to say, I, for one, am deeply, deeply proud of how magnificent this team has been. This is the reason why Dan Benham and I set up Winchester Creatives in the first place, because we fundamentally believe in the power and the ideas of young creatives and providing life support for creative talent. So we want to end on some thank yous. And I could say thank you for the encouragement and support you've given us. Thank you to my good friend Kevin Chinn for giving us this opportunity and being a magnificent client, the best client that I personally have ever experienced in my career to date in the last 23 years. And I'm sure I speak for everyone else. But thank you to you for all your prompt feedback and all your encouragement, but for your challenge and your support, for treating this team with respect, for not just trying to placate this team by showing them that this is what happens in the real world, like a real creative agency, for encouraging them, supporting them. But the final thank you we'll leave you on is something far, far, far more important than any of those things, beyond your sponsorship, beyond the money that you've given us, and beyond the encouragement. You have given this group of young people who have never worked before something that they will never forget again in their lives. During the worst pandemic of our lives, during the biggest recession, you have given them hope. Thank you very much for your support. Now I'll pass over to some questions. Cain, do you want to stop the presentation so everyone can see each other?
Yeah, of course. There we are.
There we are.
Good stuff. Thank you, everybody, for that. Great to see all the effort that's gone into it and a brilliant presentation, I thought. And I can certainly see, I know everybody else won't have seen the journey that you guys have been on, but I can certainly see how you've developed over the last few weeks, well, almost 2 months now. So great job, brilliant effort. Let me start. Has anyone got anything to say? Simon, why don't you just, if you've got any thoughts, maybe you want to say a few words on your thinking on the idea itself, or anything else for that matter.
I might just come back to one or two comments at the end, but I must admit I'm extremely impressed with the way you guys have handled this actually over the last couple of months. I think it probably is.
Yep.
And I've checked in with Kev, I think pretty much every week on progress, and I have been I've been extremely pleased with the progress you guys have made on the Pepperbox brand. I think I've got a sort of couple of questions. If we go back to, you know, first of all, Richard, I have no doubt that Kev is undoubtedly the best client you've ever had. But I'd kind of like to go back to the beginning. And if you think about the initial brief team, what do you think would have improved it? Was there anything there that, you know, you looked at and thought, jipes, I don't understand that, or that's not clear? Did you find the brief delivered what you needed?
Absolutely. I'll jump on that one if that's okay. Yep. So really, really clear brief from the outset. Some of us have not worked with professional brief before, so it's always really interesting to get that through. We had Richard really, really helping us at the start of this to understand the terminology that was being used. I mean, I really love logo design, but I'd never actually heard the term brand house, so I didn't know how that applied. So basically there's been quite a bit of learning from us, just how to interpret something like this, not from a kind of, you know, uni presentation or grad presentation sense, but actually trying to fit it into the kind of the realm that you guys work in. So it was an accessible brief, but there was a lot to learn even in that first instance. Just the first briefing session that we had, where Richard explained what a brand house is, why a brand house is necessary, and then how that executes down to being a brand platform. I think we all had a reasonably good understanding through our studies of how this kind of stuff works, but it's not until you actually see it all together as a brief that it really makes sense. So there were parts of it that were new to us, but I wouldn't say there was anything that could have been better about it, to be honest.
If I just build on one thing, thank you for giving this team a live project. So it's been very easy to have given us a project that would have been theoretical, and then it could have been just to sort of just do something in the background that could help our thinking. This has been a live project so that they've experienced some pushback from Portland Group. You know, there may be some more in the future, we don't know, but what they've felt is that the reality of what it's like to work in the real workforce, and getting to know the restrictions and some of the guidelines. And the briefing pack we received from the beginning was fantastic. We had some great insights. It had some good platform for us to work from. And I hope we've demonstrated to you how we've interpreted that. But the way this team has worked has genuinely have been super diligent. And I pay credit to everyone involved.
I guess that leads on to my next question, which is related to the team, actually. You guys haven't worked together before. What does the future hold for you, either as individually or as a team?
I'm going to pass that one on to Hannah, if that's okay, who has something interesting following up.
Yeah, so straight after, so starting on Monday, I'm actually interning at an agency in London, and I'll be there for at least a month, but hopefully it will roll on to another month, and then hopefully maybe a job at the end, but fingers crossed.
And Hannah, just to help Simon, when did the news come through that you got that placement?
I think it was mid this project, so a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So I got to talk about doing this process in my interview, which I think really helped because they were impressed by what I had achieved during the COVID pandemic. So thank you for helping boost my CV.
And just to be clear, they've talked about it in general terms rather than specific. Everyone's NDA'd and nobody's talked about specifics of Pepperbox.
Yeah.
How about you, Cain?
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm starting a new role on Monday as a product analyst and a designer at a startup company in London, working in prop tech. So that'll be quite fun.
When did that opportunity come through for you?
Sort of first half of the project when it started. So again, I was using that creative, learning for that creative process, how to explain to them how I've previously had experience, basically. But yeah, so looking forward to it.
And Amber and Heather, do you want to add to that?
I've certainly learned a lot. After this project, I will go back to just doing radio and working on a TikTok channel that I have. It's almost reached 10,000 followers, and it's like really boosted through this project, which has been like super exciting for me to see as well. And part of this project, we were looking at taglines, and one of the things that I do on this channel is look at taglines and slogans and sort of like how they work and how people interact with them. So that's really helped me, and it's really given me a better understanding and a better platform.
I've had a couple of commission opportunities kind of through this program, through meeting people, which has been really great for my kind of experience in hoping to get into a freelance career in the future. Also, my mentor's been helping me as part of this program as well. So I'm just going to continue doing drawings.
There is an opportunity, should you want to continue with Winchester Creatives, there is an opportunity somewhere down the line where we can get the band back together again. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to assume that that's the case. It's been a wonderful opportunity to work on something, and I'm sure that Dan and I will be continuing to collaborate, and we can support you in the development of this campaign, and would love to keep people involved as and when. But again, that would be for a decision for Casella Family Brands or Casella Family Brands or anyone else.
I think, yeah, on the one hand, you know, it's sad we can't get the team to carry on doing other things, but bloody good news that you guys are finding opportunities. So I'm absolutely thrilled to bits with that. I think, Heather, I thought your illustrations are absolutely brilliant. Really, really love them. Amber, I think your words just encapsulated on point everything we want out of Pepperbox. And Hannah and Dan, you know, creatively, really, really impactful, really impactful. And Cain, you know, the insights you gleaned, absolutely bang on the money. I think you've nailed the target audience. And I really love the kind of ecosystem that you're building around the web, Instagram, social. So I think, you know, great team, fantastic performance. And I'm really, really optimistic actually that this could be a very, very powerful brand, and you guys should be very, very proud of the input you've had into making that the case. There's quite a lot of pressure on Simon to deliver through Tesco, and I know he'll do that on your behalf. The Winchester, we'll have to make sure that the Winchester Tesco, that big store that I know quite well, quite close to Kev, is perhaps the beacon store for Pepperbox sales. So we'll make sure that that's the case.
Brilliant.
Oh, I'll be stocking up.
Yeah.
One thing I do promise you is once we have the first production, we will send you 6 bottles of it each.
Oh
wow, thank you.
Amazing, thank you.
Just drink it responsibly, and obviously you will become, you will be the advocates for the brand. So
that's fantastic, thank you.
That's great, thank you.
Can I just check on that? One final thing on that. Is there anybody that actually through all that process has suddenly decided that they're not particularly keen on wine?
I've got more keen on wine since.
I think I've drunk more wine recently than before.
Absolutely, we've all become connoisseurs.
I love it. I love it.
Red wine.
That was a really useful challenge from one of our team who sort of said, I'd love to drink more of this and can't wait to see the vegan varietal coming out at some point soon. So not only are they keen, they're keen to see your product development move even faster.
No pressure. No pressure.
Not at all.
Good stuff. I'm conscious of time, but I'd quite like Simon Trace. So, any thoughts from you as a wise old owl sitting there? Been through a few of these, I'm sure.
First of all, hugely impressed. I mean, I understand how tough it is. My son graduates this year, so he's facing where you people are currently at, and one of his good friends is graduated last year and is on his third interview with Anheuser-Busch today, having had a couple of rejections in other areas. So I get that it's incredibly tough. So keen to help in whatever way possible. In terms of is this a live project? I mean, most definitely it is. So we first mentioned, well, the idea of Pepperbox came up in conversation with Tesco nearly 3 years ago now. They've always been supportive of the idea. They've seen the bottle and they've seen the concept. They are very supportive. The challenge that they have, just to kind of give it some context, is they will change their range once a year. They'll do tweaks throughout, but once a year, and there'll be hundreds of suppliers presenting ideas to them. So this is just one of hundreds. They'll also analyze their range and decide what it is that they need. And whilst this is a fabulous product, it might not totally fit what they need. So we're going through a gate process with them. It's not as simple as just turning up. You go through various stages. In terms of where we're at, we probably should know within the next 10 days, is it yay or nay? So sort of simultaneous to you've been working on the how this could appear in store. We've been presenting the kind of the gritty side, the commercials, the pounds, shillings and pence. Does it work for them? Does it work for us? And we would look to then present normally to the buyer and the category manager the communication plan. At that stage, budgets kick in, which can limit some of the ideas, not all of the ideas, but can limit some of the ideas. And you'd probably have 10 or 15 minutes to make this pitch. So you probably have a third of the time that you've pitched to us. Now, we've told Tesco that you are involved in this, and I'd like to explore how some of you make that presentation to Tesco.
That's wonderful. If you could make that happen, I know this team would jump at that chance.
Absolutely.
Pretty good.
There are no expectations, but if we could put some of these people in front of a procurement manager over at Tesco's, that is an opportunity that this team, every single person who's presented, apart from me as an old fart, is under the age of 30. Some of them will not get that opportunity in their careers for another 15 years, or if not 20 years. If you could enable that to happen without any pressure, it's only if it's appropriate, because this is your major account. I know that this team would be very, very grateful for that opportunity. No pressure, but something that if you need our support, wherever we're doing, whatever roles we are doing, the bat phone is there. We will be there, beck and call to join you for that meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good stuff. I am conscious of time, but I'll just quickly open it up to the other three guys for a quick brief or question if you've got any. I'll start with John.
Yeah, I was scribbling through some of that, just with a couple of thoughts that I had. Simon mentioned a couple of things I was going to mention, but the narrative is very good. One of the challenges that you face into commercially with commercial buying teams is that there has to be a story that you can tell, that hits into areas. The first gate is the commercial buying team. The second is the consumer. You don't get near the consumer unless you can convince the buyers that what you've provided is going to tell a story that they might be interested in listening to. So that's great. The look and feel of the creative, I think, is spot on. I suspect I might be closer to the target audience than most of you, and I like it. So thank you very much. The link to food is perfect. It's well weighted, I think, and is just about right for where the industry is at the moment in terms of what it's looking to do with wine and what people like us are doing with wine. So that's great. And the digital execution is somewhere considerably ahead of my understanding, which also is great to see. That might not be saying much. There are other people who have a better handle on that world, but it's something that you should consider individually as a benefit of having a better handle on that than perhaps the people ahead of you might have. It's a strength of yours, and you should leverage that. The only area I can think of that I might want to see a bit more development of is its stand out on shelf. Because you're having to play with the images of the bottle at the moment, I can understand why that isn't something that you've done at the moment, but we would look at that going forward if we were doing the next stage. The higher up the shelf you go, the more white labels you see. So white labels, dark bottles can get a little bit recessive, and if your point of sale material is also quite dark and moody, there's a question as to how much that jumps off the shelf. But it's also the case that people looking at the top shelf are probably looking for it a little bit longer than people who are looking further down and just grabbing what's appealing straight away. So well done, guys. I'm delighted for those of you who've picked up jobs. I hope this was helpful as a process to you in that regard. For those of you that haven't yet, the world is a crappy place at the moment, but the world will turn and your opportunity will arrive, and hopefully this process will put you in a good place to seize that when it comes.
Oh, very well said. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Nicole and Luke, any final comments from you?
I just wanted to say great job, guys, and it's a wonderful platform to launch the brand from. In terms of the kind of brand purpose there, so not just a link with food, but that link with adventure as well, which gives a kind of wider connection, a bit of a deeper connection with the brand than just purely on the kind of taste and functional benefits of the wine. So I think that's a really strong platform that we can build on and launch with. So yeah, great job on responding to the brief. You know, the artwork's looking excellent. Yeah. I think you've done really, really well. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just echo everyone else. Really, it was great to see kind of where you got to, because I sort of briefly saw bits of it yesterday, but it's really interesting to see kind of how you got to that point. I love the daring dishes, and I can definitely see how they will work kind of through the line. So I think it's really exciting and looks great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
No worries.
Good stuff, guy. I think I'll just make the final word for me. Thank you very much again. And great that you've got some roles out of it. And as John said, good luck to those that are still out there looking. But should be proud of yourselves. And I'm sure we'll probably have a drink next week to celebrate virtually. So I'll save any more words for this moment. But good work. Richard, shall we wrap it at that point? Any more thoughts from yourself?
No, just to say a very heartfelt thank you, and we are very, very grateful for your sponsorship and your support.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Guys, you should be very proud of the work you've done. Richard, Dan, I promise I will get down your way once things are lifted. We definitely need a beer or a couple of glasses of wine, who knows? Yep. And hopefully I might meet some of you guys in the flesh as well. But if not, you've got glittering careers ahead of you. Of that I have absolutely no doubt. And it'll run in parallel with Pepperbox. Of that I'm absolutely convinced. So thank you very much indeed.
Fantastic, thank you.
Could we just take one photo before we leave of just everyone to capture this very special moment for everyone? It would be amazing if, I know this is going to sound a bit weird, it'd be amazing if we could ask you to wave. Thank you so much. There we are. We really, really appreciate your support. Have a good rest of Friday, and team, we'll have a chance to catch up at the end of the day for a drink, and Kevin will come back and we'll do a social next week with anyone who wants to join. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.